everyone. Okay, I don't know who is live with me today. Hello, is anyone live with me today? Hello, if you're live, please can you drop a comment so I can see that someone is here with me today. All right. I can't see any comments yet, so I'll just start, right? Okay, I can see one comment. Oh, that's good. All right, thank you very much. So we'll go ahead. Okay, you're all welcome today. You're all welcome today. Good evening. My name is Chioma Odiukulu, and I welcome you all to this live class with me. It's actually my first live class, so I'm looking forward to having a good time this evening. So why did I come up live today? All right. I just came up to talk about something that I've been observing as a parent, and I think it's wise, for us to talk about it. And what is it? It's, excessive screen time. As a parent, I've observed the use of screen, in an excessive way by most of our children. I was somewhere, I think a few days ago, and I saw a parent giving a child. This child should be about, let's say, 6 months old, a phone, and, just allowing the child to watch, children cartoon, children program. The child was just flipping with the colors and everything, and the child was just, fixed on that phone. And I thought it's wise for us to discuss about excessive screen time. So what is the meaning of excessive screen time? Excessive screen time has to do with, it's all about too much of screen. So when we give our children screen, when it's too much, that is when we can refer to it as being excessive. Now, as parents, we must understand our role in the life of our children. I believe every parent wants the best for their children. We want to raise children that will be of, advantage to the society. And we wouldn't want to raise our children in such a way that later on they'll have some challenges and difficulties because of our decisions or because of poor decisions we make for them as parents. So what are we expected to do? What is the recommendation of screen time? Because it seems like people are just doing what they want to do, Everybody's just, giving screen to their children, not even considering what is acceptable for my child. Now, for every child under 18 months, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, babies younger than 18 months should avoid screen time. So every child less than 18 months should not be given any form of screen at all. That child should not be exposed to any form of screen. So what does it mean for us as parents? It means that we shouldn't expose our children of 18 months, 18 months and less than 18 months to any form of screen. So as a parent, if you're told that something is going to have a negative consequence on your child, would you go ahead and do that thing? I believe no. Most of us want the best for our children. Let me give another example. If you're told a particular medication is going to affect your child in a negative way, as a parent, would you go ahead and give your child that medication? Most parents would not do that, because we understand the consequence or the effect of that medication on our child's body. That is the same way with screen. If we understand that exposing a child of less than 18 months to early screen has negative consequences later on in life, we wouldn't want to expose them that early to screen. So as parents, we are reminded today, understand sometimes as a parent, you're busy, you have a lot to do. You just want to give the child the screen so that the child will stop crying. But we must consider the long-term effect of our choices and our decisions, and not just the short-term. In this situation, the short-term consequence is that the child will stop crying. You're going to suit the child with the screen. But the long-term consequence or the long-term effect is still there, waiting to affect the child. So as parents, let's also consider the long-term effect of exposing our children to screen in such an early time. So what can we do as parents? What are other options, we can do or we can use instead of screen time? So as parents, we should prioritize real-time interaction. The truth is that babies, they need hands-on hands play. They need to explore. Babies need the human interaction, because it helps them in their cognitive development, it helps them in their emotional development and in their physical development. So your baby or your toddler of 18 months and less than, in fact, some people even advise 2 years and less than, does not even need that screen you're giving to the child. The child needs hands-on-hands interaction, communication, because these are the skills the child will need later on in life. Also, as a parent, you can create a screen-free environment. Ensure that babies do not have, when they are having their meals, there's no screen. Just create the home environment in such a way that screen will not be used at every point in time, or screen is completely taken away for your babies of 18 months and less than 18 months. Now, we're going to explore the dangers of screen time for babies. So what are the dangers? Why are we saying don't give your toddler or your child of 18 months and less than screen? Don't expose this child to any form of screen. Number one, when a child is exposed to any form of screen, it leads to delayed language development. Now, babies learn best through direct interaction with people. So your babies learn more when they are interacting with people, when they are seeing the face of an adult. That is why when they see the face of a parent, for example, a mother or a father, they are connecting, they are smiling, they are happy. They learn best through that way and not by viewing screens, because too much screen time can interfere with the development of their communication skills, because they are not engaging. There's no interaction. When a child is watching screen, the child is just sat down there. The child is not interacting with anybody. The child is just like a one-way system. The child is just receiving everything in the screen and not giving back. So it affects their language. It affects their communication. Another thing early screen exposure does for our toddlers is that it reduces verbal interaction. When babies are in front of screen, parents may talk to them less, because obviously as a parent, for example, as a mother, if you're cooking in the kitchen and your child is watching the television or is using your phone, definitely the child is engrossed. So the child will obviously not cry or not disturb you. So you might not even talk to your child. So you find out that within that period, there's less communication between you, the parent, and your child. It therefore helps to reduce the number of words this child is exposed to, because if it continues over time, you find out that you don't communicate more to your child, and it reduces their language vocabulary. Yes, so that is what early screen time does to our toddlers. The other thing is that when toddlers are exposed to screen in such an early time, it reduces their cognitive development. Screens do not provide the same rich sensory and motor experiences that real life, real world play does. That is essential for the cognitive development of babies. Hands-on activities like playing with their toys, exploring their environment, playing with sand, playing with mud, playing with Play-Doh, plasticine, interacting with people, all these things. When they are watching the screen, obviously they won't participate in all these things. And when they continue over a long period of time, you find out that it hinders their cognitive development. They are not able to interact with their environments. Also, screen helps to impair attention. Over exposure of screen, helps to affects the child or a child negatively. It affects their attention span. It makes it harder for a child to focus, because they are not interacting. The child is just fixed on the colors, because most times these children programs, it's very colorful. The child is not focused. The child is just fixed on the screen and, just looking at the colors and everything. So another effect, or will I say dangers of early exposure to screen, is that it causes sleep problems. It distorts sleep patterns of our children. When children are exposed to screen in such an early age, especially when you give your child a phone or any form of screen before bedtime, it can interfere with the baby's sleep. That is why you find out that some babies don't sleep well at night. And as a parent, you might think you're helping your child, but you're actually doing a disservice to your child when you give your child a screen or a phone, especially when it's close to bedtime, because it will help the child not to even have proper sleep. Because the blue light emitted from these screens can delay the melatonin production. And melatonin production is a hormone that regulates sleep. So it can lead to difficulty of a child or anybody falling asleep. Even we as adults, if you're very observant as a parent, most times before you go to bed, if you're on your phone, you find out that you don't go to bed early. You find out that you find it difficult to sleep because there is something it's doing to you. So if it can affect us as parents, then what's more of our children and of babies that are even less than 18 months? Another dangers of early exposure to screen is that it impairs the vision. It causes eye strain. Obviously, when the child is sitting in front of the screen, their eyes will be strained because prolonged exposure to this screen strain the baby's eyes, which potentially cause a discomfort or even vision problems for this child. The eyes of a baby is still developing, but when you now introduce excessive screen time, it can lead to issues that can cause eye fatigue. It can lead to difficulty in focusing. It can just affect the vision of a baby. So another danger of early screen exposure is lack of physical activity. Babies need to move. Babies need to explore the environment. Babies need to develop their motor skills. They need to crawl. They need to walk. They need to do a lot of things, within their environment. But when they are exposed or when they are put in front of this screen for a long period of time, it can limit the amount of physical activities they carry out, which potentially delays their motor skill development. So when you put your child in front of a screen, it means that within the period the child is in front of the screen, the child is not carrying out any other physical activity. And those physical activities are the skills this child needs to thrive later on in life. Because while the child is playing, the child is learning a lot from play. The child is building their motor skills. The child is learning about communication. The child is learning their environment. The child is learning a lot. So parents, please don't put your child, especially toddlers 18 months and less than, in front of a screen, because you're doing a disservice to that child. Another danger of early screen exposure is that it causes poor attention and focus, as we said earlier, because many of these children's programs, they are rapid scene changes. The colors are bright, they are flashy. It's difficult for babies to be able to focus because obviously they are not real world activities. A baby focuses more when the child is doing, a real world activity. For example, when a child is playing with the sand, the child focuses more. When a child is playing with a toy, the child tends to focus more. When a child is playing with puzzle, or when a child is tearing paper, or scribbling on a paper, the child tends to focus more and not on the screen. Then the final danger I have for us here of early exposure to screen is emotional regulation issues. Sometimes as parents we feel that, this screen is suiting my child. As I'm giving my toddler this screen, I can be cooking, I can be reading my book, I can be doing other things I need to do. But the truth is that when you expose your child to early screen, it causes emotional regulation issues. Most parents use screen to calm down their babies and to distract their babies during stressful situations, and this is very wrong. For example, a child is crying or the child is having a tantrum. And what do we do as parents? Your child is crying. The first thing you do, okay, take my phone. What did you just do there? What you did is that you did not help to teach that child how to control that emotion at that point in time. You did not help to teach that child or to walk that child through the process of controlling that tantrum at that point in time. So obviously, your toddler will get to understand that, okay, when I cry, my mom or my dad gives me their phone or gives me any form of screen. Okay, I think I'll be doing it. That is why you find out that some toddlers, they just want your attention and they throw tantrum and you give them the phone. They keep throwing tantrum because they know, obviously, this is what my parents will do. You're doing a disservice to that child, because instead of helping that child to manage that emotion or to control that emotion so that they don't repeat that same action later on, you're just suiting the child and you're considering just the short term. What is the short term? This child is going to keep quiet, but you're forgetting about the long-term effects of what this action can lead or cause for the child. So as parents, we must be very conscious of the fact that early screen exposure is a total no-no for our toddlers, especially toddlers 18 months and less than, some 2 years and less than, because we need them to build the skills they will need to thrive in life. And to be honest, the skills our children need to thrive in life is not on the screen. They need to build on other activities outside the screen. They need to build on hands-on activity. They need to learn so many things. They need to learn social skills. Social skills is not learned on the screen. They need to learn how to communicate. They need to learn how to share. They need to learn empathy. They need to learn emotional regulation. All these things are the things that our children get to learn outside of the screen. And these are the skills they will need later on in life. Even we as adults, just check it. What are you using now? What skill are you making use of? In your place of work, what do you do more? You communicate. In your homes, you communicate. You have social skills. Those are the skills we need to thrive in life, and not putting your child in front of a screen, because when you do that, you're doing a disservice to that child. So what are some recommendations, parents, I have here for us as parents? Because obviously I'm still a parent, So number one, we should avoid screen time for babies under 18 months old. It's a total no-no. As I earlier said, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, babies younger than 18 months should avoid screen time. So you have a toddler, you have a baby, 18 months and less than, no screen for that child, please. Then as a parent, learn to prioritize real life interaction. Babies like hands-on play. They like to explore. They like human interaction. They just like physical activity. So play with your child. Some parents will tell you, I don't even know what to tell my child. Why won't you know what to tell your child? Play with your child, tickle your child, joke with your child, run around with your child, sing with your child, clap with your child, do hands-on activities that will help to develop the skills of this child and not put this child in front of a screen. Then the other recommendation I have here for us as parents is that we should create a screen-free environment. When we are carrying out some activities in our homes, for example, you want to eat, your child wants to go to bed, just create a screen-free environment. Make sure the screen is completely not available in certain areas of the house. So now as parents, we must also, some people might ask, so what are the recommendations? From 0 to 2 years, as I said, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommend avoiding screen time for children under 18 months. Then for preschoolers 2 to 5 years old, you can limit their screen time to 1 hour per day of high quality programming. It's up to you. Some parents do 30 minutes a day. Some people do 1 hour weekend. Some people do 30 minutes during the weekend. It's totally up to you. Then school age children 6 years plus, there might not be strict guideline, but just focus on balancing the screen time with physical activity. Balance the screen time with the other activities they need to do, other non-screen activities. That is what we should consider as parents. Then how can I know that my child is exposed to excessive screen? How can I know that this is a red flag? Number one, when your child has sleep disruptions, when your child is finding it difficult to sleep, as a parent, you have to go in, look inwards and see what you need to do as regards screen exposure for your child. When this child also have behavioral changes, some children just become irritable. Some children just throw tantrum. Have you seen a child that's an iPad was taken out of this child, and some of them will want to fall down, they will throw tantrum, they don't want to eat, they are just picking up, they're just talking to everyone in the house, and the way they like. As a parent, you need to watch that, you need to check that, and you need to ensure you do something about the screen exposure of your child. Your child is also exposed to too much screen when the child lacks interest in non-screen activities. For example, like playing outside. Most children like to play outside, but when your child doesn't want to play outside with other members of the family, when the child just wants to sit down and watch their screen, it's a red flag as a parent. You need to watch it. Some children, I don't know, some of us as parents, have you been to a birthday party and you see where, everybody's on their phone, pressing their phone. Sometimes even the celebrant is on their phone, not engaging with people, not communicating, not talking. Do you get? Not wanting to do non-screen activity it's a red flag as a parent. When you see that, when you see your child exhibiting that, you need to watch it and check the screen exposure of your child. Another thing we need to look at is when your child has eye strain. When your child has eye strain from exposure to so much screen, when your child start complaining of vision, my eyes, I'm having difficulty to see, as a parent, you need to check the screen exposure of your child. Another thing we need to check as parents is sedentary behavior. Too much of screen leads to lack of physical activity, as I said, and it can also contribute to health issues and obesity, because sometimes when children sit in front of the screen, they can eat in front of the screen, they can do everything in front of the screen. Sometimes they won't even get up. Sometimes when a member of the family come back home, they won't even say you're welcome because their eyes are focused on that screen. So it's something we need to watch as parents. Then finally, what we need to watch as parents, emotional and social impacts. How is my child relating emotionally? How is my child relating socially? How is the social skills of my child? Is my child experiencing anxiety? Do you know there are some children, even some of us adults, that experience anxiety when we are close to people? It's a red flag for us as parents. Does my child like to isolate himself or herself? It's a red flag we need to watch, as parents. Then finally, how is the face-to-face relationship or communication of my child? Some children, when they are talking to you, they can't even they can't make eye contact. Their face, their head is down. As a parent, you need to watch out all those things. Then finally, what is the solution? How can we help our children? How can we regulate screen? Number one, as parents, we need to set clear rules and boundaries in our homes. We are the parents, so we need to do our work. Please set boundaries. Please set clear rules. Let your children be aware of what is obtainable in your home. Number two, we have to establish screen-free times. As I said, we have to establish screen-free times for obviously children that are 2 years and above, not for 18 months and less than. Then another thing we can do as parents is to create a daily schedule. We should designate specific time for screen, and when we designate that time for screen for children 2 years and above, we should learn to balance it with outdoor play, with other activities our children enjoy that is not screen related. Another thing we can do as parents is that we should use parental controls. Obviously, our children are still growing, they are still developing, their brains are not fully developed. So it's our duty to ensure we put in place the necessary controls and measures not to expose them to content they shouldn't be exposed to. Check your settings, check your filters, just do what you need to do as a parent. Then the other way we can help regulate screen time is to lead by example. As parents, we need to model, because parenting is all about modeling. You need to lead by example. How is your screen time? Are you the type of parent that when your child is talking to you, you're pressing the phone? I'm also learning. Are you the type of parent when you come back from work, your child is telling you this is what happened in school and you're pressing your phone? Are you the type of parent that when you're eating, you're pressing your phone? So we need to lead by example. What we want to see in our children, we need to model it first as parents. Then, as parents, we have to also talk to our grown-up children about healthy screen habits. It's our duty to say, to explain to our children healthy screen habits, what they need to watch out for, what they need to avoid, So that's it from me to us today. Also, as parents, we must also understand that exposure to screen, because a lot of us parents that have grown-up children, most parents expose their children to social media and not technology. It's totally different. For me, if you have grown-up children, I'll rather you expose them to technology, you expose them to skills, things they can use to, skills they can build. For instance, there are so many skills like PowerPoint. You can teach your child PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, how to use the computer to add value, and not putting your child on social media. Social media is a no-no. When you're giving your child social media, the truth is that you're exposing the world to your child. Even we as parents, even we as adults, sometimes we're even finding it difficult to even regulate our emotions on social media. Then what's more about your child? If you have a grown-up child, as a parent, when you expose your child to this screen without teaching this child, or giving a child a phone without teaching this child what this child needs to know, you're doing a disservice to that child, because the child needs to deal with a lot. The child needs to be equipped to be able to to have a phone and to know, what happened there in the world. So as parents, we must be very careful of our actions. Let's be careful that we don't make choices and decisions that will be a disservice for our children. So thank you very much for listening to me today. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you to all of us that came live. I can see my darling husband. Thank you. I can see Dr. Jane. Thank you very much. I can see Mr. Ugochukwu. Thank you so much for coming live with me. I can see Jennifer Ngozi. Thank you, Jennifer. I can see my sister Chinyere Odikolo. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming or joining me live today. I believe you all had a great time. I did have a great time because it's my first time coming live. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate your time. I do not take your time for granted. Please share this video, so that everyone, every parent out there, we get to know, these things. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel called Becoming the Renewed Parent, and please join our Facebook group called Becoming the Renewed Parent. So please, if you've got any question, we can drop in our questions before we go. If we've got any contribution, any feedback, we can do that before we go. Okay, I can see Dr. Jane said too much screen affects their communication. Yes, blue light from melatonin can affect sleep. Yes, thank you, ma. Too much screen time affects motor skills. Yes, screen time affects emotional stability. Yes, and I can see my husband says screen is the easy way out for parents, forgetting that it has a long-term effect on their children. Yes, screen has a long-term effect. So we should also always consider the long-term effect and not the short-term effect. And Dr. Jane said, well laid down points. Quite an insightful session. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Excellent delivery. Great insights. Mr. Chuko Keke Franklin, thank you for joining me, sir. Said interesting topic. And Dr. Jane, thank you. And my husband says very interesting topic. Got lots of value. Keep up with the good work. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining me today. It's been such an insightful time. I do not take your time for granted. Thank you so much. Do have a good night rest and see you till we come again live, in our next video very soon. Thank you very much and have a good night rest. See you all and bye. Thank you.